Hi guys, and thanks for tuning in. We begin our video today in my home state of South Australia. I'm saying hello from the town of Gawler where I live. We're gonna be talking about trains, so before we cross over to Life Ryan, let me take you through the stations of this town. Welcome to Gawler. This town is as far as the Adelaide metro train line takes you. From Adelaide City, it covers a total distance of 42 kilometers and a travel time of just about an hour to get here. The line was recently reopened after 2.5 years of upgrades and electrification works. Was the wait worth it? That's what we're here to find out. Gawler Central Station is the terminus station. It was opened in 1911 and you can tell not much of the structure has changed. Up until 1968, passengers could travel from here into the Barossa Valley, reaching as far as Truro. This service was ceased due to low demand. As part of the upgrade works, this station and many others along the line saw new signage, pathway fencing, LED lights for night operations, and yes, the original ticket booth got a fresh coat of paint as well. We start our southward bound journey and we see the King Street Bridge. It was a heart-wrenching day when this 110-year-old bridge had to be demolished to accommodate the train's overhead electrification needs. Road traffic has now been permanently diverted around it, and a new pedestrian bridge has been built in its place for trains to pass underneath. Gawler Oval is the station to get off if you're attending the annual Gawler Show. It is held at the Oval Showgrounds within walking distance from here. Outside of the Gawler Show, this station is normally extremely quiet. And finally, this is Gawler Station. And earlier today, the festivities commemorating today's electrification completion was in full swing. This train from Gawler brought with it state politicians, local MPs, news crew complete with cameras, and it was certainly great to be part of this occasion. It was also awesome to meet fellow enthusiasts, and here's the money shot with Aidan from iFly Aviation and Rory from Rory Ding Travels. Built in 1857, Gawler Station was the original terminus station for this train line. Since it was built 1 kilometer from town, a horse-drawn tram completed the journey from here to Gawler. When the train lines were extended to Barossa Valley in 1911, Gawler Central Station became the stop to get off for people heading to the town itself. The horse-drawn tram was then withdrawn. The Gawler Lions Club has adopted this station for restoration works. It now houses an art gallery showcasing local artists. This station also plays host to the weekly farmers market on Sundays. Now you see why I love living here? And that's right guys, welcome back to another one of my videos, and in this series of videos what I'm going to name as Backyard Revealed, I'm going to show you from my town of Gawler within driving distance what is there to see, things to do, restaurants to dine at, and today an interesting activity that I'm going to do is the Gawler Railway to town, because today the electrification of
Gawler Railway officially opens and the train is running today for the first time. All the festivities happened this morning, so now the crowd has cleared out and I get the train to be a bit more peaceful so I can savor the experience as a whole. So without further ado, let's get this journey started. Let's do this.
The Adelaide Metro ACT 4000 class is a class of electric trains built by Bombardier Transportation in Dandenong, Victoria. That explains why they look so similar to the V-Line trains which runs there, because they use the same design shell. Besides the Gawler line, these trains are also found on the Seaford and Tonsley lines.
Yeah.
Nothing like walking into a brand new cabin interior, still shiny and devoid of graffiti. There are seats mostly arranged in a 2x2 configuration facing both ways of travel. The seat is very thinly cushioned and obviously not padded for a long-haul journey. My bum was really numb by the time I arrived in Adelaide. Even though the Gawler line is now electrified, there are only so many electric trains available in the fleet. So until the middle of 2023, the older 3000 class diesel trains will run alongside their perkier electric newbies to keep services running. When more new trains are delivered, the diesel ones will eventually be phased out. Outside the physical town limits of Gawler, there are also the stations of Evanston and Tamberlin. These two stations are located within the jurisdiction of Gawler Council. After we pull away from Tamberlin, we're now officially saying goodbye to my hometown of Gawler.
The next stop is Cutler.
The completion of this project has only taken 14 years. It was approved by the state government in 2008 with partial funding assistance from the federal government. Work began in 2010. However, in 2013, a newly elected federal government led by the onion-chewing, budgie smuggler-wearing Tony Abbott, funding for the project was withdrawn. This was left in limbo for many years after several false starts until 2018, when it went full steam ahead. All thanks to our one-term Liberal Premier Stephen Marshall, who started the ball rolling again. Before funding was pulled, several stations like this one in Manupara received a substantial upgrade in preparation for electric train service, which didn't happen for a few more years afterwards. You'll see several other stations popping up with such similar designs like Elizabeth and Mawson Lakes. While the train lines were closed for the last 2.5 years, we relied on replacement buses to take us between Gawler and Adelaide. There were 3 services, one which went non-stop between Gawler Station and Adelaide, a second service stopping only at main interchanges, and the final one which stopped at all train stations. These replacement bus services were often very slow and subjected to traffic conditions and one to avoid during peak hours. It once took me 2.5 hours to get to Adelaide Airport on the non-stop bus from Gawler. I swore never again. Elizabeth is one of the major population centres north of Adelaide. It has a gigantic shopping mall, a bus interchange, and it used to be home to Jimmy Barnes and the Holden Car Factory. Yep, Holden manufactured cars here, and by the mid-2000s, they continued making cars no one wanted to buy. Instead of making decent cars, they chose to rebadge Korean shitboxes and pass them off as Holdens. Meanwhile, continuing to manufacture fuel-thirsty V6s no one wanted to buy here at the Elizabeth plant. The life support for Holden was finally turned off, and the last car rolled off the production floor in 2017. The Holden brand is finally set to cease and die a natural death as General Motors have decided to retire the brand altogether, deciding it was no use flogging a dead horse, closing the chapter on Aussie car manufacturing once and for all. You hear that? The music wasn't part of any inauguration festivities. Instead, it was an up-and-coming musician reeking of alcohol. He would break up his musical sonnet and grace us with his verbal diarrhea of very vulgar thoughts, mostly involving various parts of the human sexual organ. I believe commuters were mostly stunned by his gift because we sat there in silence, awed and humbled by his presence. Salisbury is the next major population centre we're pulling into, and we stop right in the midst of parklands, shops, cafes and restaurants. Between here and the next few stops, we're passing through suburbs where we can find large number of Vietnamese, Cambodian and Thai migrants, leading to some of Adelaide's excellent and most authentic dining experiences you can find. And they're normally very reasonably priced too.
Salisbury. Now arriving at Chile. Stand clear.
Just beyond the shrubbery, you can almost make out Parafield Airport. It was Adelaide's only civilian airport until the present airport we all know today took over in 1955. This airport is currently used for small aircraft, pilot training, and recreational aviation. Even I was surprised by this fact. Parafield Airport is currently Australia's third busiest airport in Australia by aircraft movements. In 2015, it handled 235,340 movements. That's more than the international airports of Melbourne, Brisbane, Perth, and even Adelaide. Mawson Lakes Station is a major interchange where train commuters can connect to a host of other metro buses to take you all around Adelaide. University of South Australia has a substantial campus, leading to a high proportion of students living here. As a result, Mawson Lakes has heaps of Korean, Chinese, and Indian takeaway shops and restaurants. Bubble tea cravings? No worries. They are opened till very late at night.
Interchange.
As we head closer into the city, we pass a huge train depot in Kilburn. In this vicinity, we also get a peek into an industrial past of Adelaide which no longer exists. As we head further south, these rusty brown relics have made way for modern, squishy-looking townhouses. By now, there was no more music by Music Man. I stood up and walked to the next cabin, and our eyes met. In one fleeting moment of bonding, he yelled and called me an inbred dog. How did he know? Memories came flooding back of me as a 7-year-old sitting in my bedroom during school holidays, bent forward, trying to sniff my own balls. My dog could do it, so could I. I also tried to eat my meals with hands behind my back. My parents were not amused. Thankfully, this phase lasted only a few days. But how did Music Man know? I made it a point to ride the Gawler line again at some point. Perhaps Music Man will have some more insight into my life. Oh, how I miss the charms of public transportation through the northern suburbs of Adelaide. We're now pulling into Adelaide, so it's time to conclude the journey I've taken today. The opening of the electrified Gawler line is a godsend. It's taken way longer than it should have, but hey, what's an Australian giant infrastructure project without a little budget blowout here, a smattering of delays there, and a pinch of pass the buck because it isn't my problem? Still, it's better late than never. The electric trains are so smooth, very quiet, and most importantly, great for the environment. So for all you city folks out there, why not make a day trip to Gawler? Walk along the main streets where you can sample some of the best this town has to offer. Fantastic cafes, pub crawl, award-winning restaurants, you name it. I really hope to see you guys in Gawler someday. You might even score an audience with Music Man along the way. Voila! Welcome to Adelaide Central Station. So that was the Gawler line, fully electrified, fully operational. Yeah, it was very quiet, of course, because it's an electric train. Very quiet, very smooth, and definitely a comfortable way to get from Gawler to Adelaide. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. So I'll leave details of my Instagram up on your screen right now, so you can chuck me a follow there so you can actually see what's coming up on my channel. Alright, so don't forget to comment, like, share, and most importantly, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and tap that bell notification icon so you'll know what's coming up next on my channel. Until the next time, I'll see you guys around. Bye!